If I'm still alive, I will come back. Unconquered territory.
August 9th, 1986. A fateful night etched into the history of global music. Despite the desperate warnings from doctors about his critical health and fading voice, Freddie Mercury stubbornly stepped onto the stage, ready to sacrifice everything to not disappoint his fans. But no one expected that this final performance would turn into a chaotic whirlwind. John Deacon lost control right on stage, while Freddie, the brightest star, mysteriously disappeared after that night. Amidst a fervent crowd, one fan took their last breath as the melody of "Who Wants to Live Forever" echoed. What truly happened on Queen's last night? What secrets still remain buried in rock music history forever, waiting for us to discover and unveil? Freddie Mercury was born Farrokh Bulsara. He came into the world on September 5, 1946, in Zanzibar. It was a magical island off the coast of East Africa, where there was a unique and enchanting blend of African, Arabic, and Indian cultures. His parents, Bomi and Yer Bulsara, were Parsis of Indian descent, a community renowned for its ancient traditions and culture. They moved to Zanzibar due to Bomi's work at the British Colonial Office, bringing with them the distinctive cultural and educational traits of their homeland. From birth, young Farrokh carried an interesting distinction, the source of his extraordinary talent. He had 4 extra incisors. Can you imagine? A seemingly minor physical trait that Freddie believed was the secret behind his unique vocal range spanning 4 octaves. This was not just a physiological characteristic, but also a spiritual belief for Freddie. It was part of the mystery that created his inimitable voice. Growing up amidst the fascinating blend of cultures, from the melodic tunes of Africa, the mystical tales of Arabia, to the vibrant rhythms of India, young Freddie soon revealed an intense passion for music. He began learning piano at the age of 7. What's even more astonishing is that Freddie possessed a rare natural talent, the ability to play a song back after hearing it just once. Imagine, with just a melody passing through his ear once, he could perfectly recreate it, every note, every rhythm. That was an early sign, a brilliant spark indicating a musical genius was forming, someone who would redefine the entire music industry. At the age of 8, his parents sent him to the English-style boarding school St. Peter's in India. It was a strict yet opportunity-filled educational environment. It was here that the name Freddie, which we know and love, was born. Friends called him by this affectionate name, a warm and natural way of addressing him. Also here, he formed his first band, the Hectics, taking his first tentative steps on his illustrious musical journey. It was where the first seeds of his passion were sown. However, life was not always smooth or filled with roses. The historic Zanzibar Revolution in 1964 forced his family to urgently emigrate to England, leaving everything behind. They started a new life on a strange continent. This upheaval, though challenging and full of loss, became a promising new chapter, shaping the legendary Freddie Mercury we will explore next. It was from these difficulties, these great changes, that a star rose and shone brightly. But do you really know how Freddie came up with the name Queen, or why he chose the name Mercury? The true story behind these iconic names will surprise you. Keep watching to uncover the secrets. The birth of Queen. After arriving in England, a land full of new opportunities and challenges, Freddie Mercury continued to pursue his burning passion for art. He studied at Isleworth Polytechnic and then Ealing Art College, graduating with a degree in graphic design. You might think that a musical genius would only focus on notes and melodies, but no, Freddie showed astonishing versatility. This graphic design skill not only helped Freddie support himself through odd jobs like washing dishes at Heathrow Airport, a tough manual labor job for an artistic soul, but also became a powerful tool later on. He personally designed Queen's famous logo, a magnificent symbol recognized and admired worldwide. This demonstrated his comprehensive vision and creative ability. Few fans know that during Freddie's struggle to make ends meet, he also sold second-hand clothes at Kensington Market with Roger Taylor, who would later become Queen's renowned drummer. Imagine 2 young men, future legends, grappling with life, selling old items to fund their musical dreams. This arduous struggle not only toughened their spirits, but also forged a resilient, courageous Freddie who never gave up on his aspirations. The fateful turning point came in 1970, After Tim Staffel left the band Smile, Freddie unhesitatingly joined Brian May and Roger Taylor. With his foresight and innate audacity, it was Freddie who boldly proposed a revolutionary idea, renaming the band Queen. He described the name as bold, grand, and theatrical, a name that was not merely a symbol, but also a declaration of their ambition and style. A year later, John Deacon joined. The legendary Queen lineup we know today was complete, those who would together make history. Around this time, to express his desire to assert himself and define his career, he decided to change his surname to Mercury. This name was inspired by the lyrics of Mother Mercury, a song he himself composed, a prophecy of his role as a messenger of music. Isn't that special? Even before Queen released their first album, Freddie personally designed the iconic, intricate, and meaningful Queen crest. This emblem was not just a simple logo, but a work of art full of meaning. It incorporated the zodiac signs of each member, two mighty lions representing Roger Taylor and John Deacon, a crab for Brian May, and fairies symbolizing Mercury's Virgo sign. All were encompassed by the majestic phoenix, an omen of their glorious rise from the ashes, defying all prejudice and hardship. Freddie Mercury was not just a musician, he was a true artist, a visionary capable of turning everything into a work of art, even his band's emblem. Incredible vocal range and innate songwriting ability. Freddie Mercury was not just a singer, he was a musical phenomenon, a natural marvel, a rare voice capable of stirring every emotion. Although his natural vocal range was lower, he could effortlessly reach high notes with a powerful intensity few in music history could achieve. This extraordinary flexibility astounded experts. The renowned opera singer Montserrat Cabal, one of the greatest classical voices of all time, who performed and shared the stage with Freddie, once praised him with eloquent words. She said he had perfect technique down to every detail, impeccable rhythm, and extraordinary ability to switch vocal registers, a skill that even the most seasoned opera singers admired. It was not just a comment from an opera diva, it was an acknowledgement from the pinnacle of vocal art, showing that Freddie's talent transcended all genre limits and definitions. And what's even more astonishing is that science has also proven the extraordinary nature of Freddie's voice, confirming what the ear had perceived. In 2016, an in-depth study by Professor Christian Herbst and his team analyzed Mercury's voice using modern technology and made astonishing discoveries. They found that his vibrato technique was faster than most opera singers, creating a unique and energetic pulsating effect. More specifically, he also possessed a rare ability to employ a complex vocal technique that allowed his voice to resonate with unique depth and texture, producing a rich and powerful sound that no one else could match. This study even concluded that a professional rock singer could not naturally replicate what Mercury did. This shows that his talent was an innate gift, almost supernatural. This is the clearest and most convincing proof of Freddie's superior vocal talent, a voice that defined an entire generation. Beyond his role as lead singer, Mercury was a true songwriting machine, a born hitmaker. He wrote 10 out of 17 tracks on Queen's Greatest Hits album, including iconic hits we still listen to today, timeless works like Bohemian Rhapsody, Killer Queen, We Are the Champions, and Somebody to Love. What's even more incredible is that despite being a musical genius, Freddie Mercury could barely read music in the traditional sense. He composed primarily by ear, building complex and harmonious melodies instinctively, as if music flowed directly from his soul. This ability, combined with an astonishing diversity in songwriting styles from rockabilly, progressive rock, to gospel and disco, made him one of the greatest musicians in history. He was a person unconstrained by any genre. And how can we not mention his incredible stage presence? Freddie could hypnotize a stadium full of spectators with just a gesture. He controlled tens of thousands of people as if an invisible thread connected him to the crowd. He didn't just sing, he performed, he lived the music. He transformed every concert into a collective ritual. The pinnacle of that greatness was Queen's 20-minute performance at Live Aid on July 13, 1985, a moment likened to the rebirth of rock and roll. This performance is still considered the greatest live performance in rock history. It was a benchmark for all subsequent performances, The moment he held a high note during an a cappella section became the note heard around the world, a classic moment forever etched in history. Even his broken microphone stand, initially just an accident on stage, later became an iconic part of his image. It's a testament to his spontaneous and instinctive genius. He was truly unique, a star that would never fade. Queen internal fissures and controversies. Although Queen was a legendary band possessing immense power and unity on stage, the 1980s also witnessed deep internal fissures in the relationships between its members. These were silent cracks that the public rarely saw. Tensions began to appear evident, especially during the recording of the Works album, 1984. Brian May, the genius guitarist with emotional melodies, angrily stormed out of the studio and even considered quitting Queen entirely. This showed the immense pressure and conflict involved in the creative process, in reconciling such large egos. Not just Brian May, John Deacon, the bassist known for his calmness and reliability, also suddenly disappeared and went to Bali without informing anyone. This unexpected action led Freddie to joke awkwardly that he would sing Bali High on stage. Unannounced absences, disagreements, and impulsive actions gradually eroded the band's inherent cohesion, creating gaps that were difficult to bridge. Besides internal rifts, Queen also became embroiled in major external controversies. These were political scandals that significantly affected their image. In 1984, they performed in Sun City, South Africa during the apartheid era. A brutal policy of racial segregation. This led to a fierce wave of protests, resulting in their ban by the Musicians' Union and heavy criticism from the United Nations. This was a dark stain in the band's history, showing how artistic decisions are sometimes influenced and judged by the socio-political context. They were even booed by the audience in Rio de Janeiro in 1985. That was unimaginable for a band with Queen's global influence. Freddie's personal life also contributed to this chaos. His manager, Paul Prenter, was said to have caused many internal band problems, from leaking personal information to creating divisions among members. Persistent conflicts, controversial decisions, and external troubles painted a complex, stormy picture of Queen during this decade, all prepared for the fateful events that would follow. Would these cracks and pressures directly affect Freddie's last performance? We shall find out. But the greatest secret Freddie never hid was his true self. What did he risk, and why did he refuse to stay silent? Stay tuned. What you're about to discover will change everything you thought you knew. The Magic Tour and the last night at Knebworth. After their historic, emotional performance that moved millions of hearts at Live Aid in 1985, Queen didn't rest. They didn't savor their victory for too long, but immediately embarked on a new journey, the Magic Tour in 1986. This was not just an ordinary tour, it was a historic journey. It was their biggest and most ambitious tour to date. Within a mere 8 intense weeks, Queen performed 26 shows in 9 European countries, a demanding schedule requiring immense physical and mental stamina. The scale of this tour was truly overwhelming, reflecting the caliber of a legendary band. The stage was 160 feet wide, with 2 walkways extending deep into the crowd, allowing Freddie to interact more closely with fans as if he were among them. They used over 8 miles of cables and a giant 20-foot video screen, transforming each night into a peak visual and auditory experience, unforgettable. The sound system was so powerful that the music could be heard from neighboring villages, spreading throughout the space like a resounding declaration. Isn't it amazing to imagine a concert reverberating so widely, transcending all geographical limits? Throughout the Magic Tour, many notable events occurred. Singer Fish of Marillion unexpectedly joined Mercury on stage in Mannheim. It was a spontaneous and surprising moment. Freddie also had to deny rumors of the band breaking up in Newcastle, indicating that internal rifts had begun to leak to the public, causing anxiety among fans. But perhaps the most peculiar and historic highlight of this tour was when Queen made history by becoming the first major rock band to perform behind the Iron Curtain in Budapest, Hungary. Here, Freddie gave a special, emotional and iconic performance. He sang a Hungarian folk song a cappella without accompaniment, surprising and moving the audience deeply. He demonstrated his extraordinary cross-cultural connecting ability. This moment was not just a concert, but a musical bridge connecting 2 worlds, overcoming all political barriers. The night of August 9th, 1986, Freddie Mercury stepped onto that stage, unaware that it would be his last live performance with Queen. A sense of regret and sadness washes over as one thinks about this. Although doctors had warned him not to sing due to severe laryngitis and deteriorating health, Freddie insisted on performing, overcoming all pain so as not to disappoint the 120,000 loyal fans who had placed their trust in him. His voice occasionally cracked, hoarse, but he still gave his all, overcoming physical pain with all his remaining will and passion. He even held a high note in the anthem, "We Are the Champions," despite his hoarse voice making the crowd explode in admiration and extreme emotion. That night, Queen played their classic hits, Who Wants to Live Forever echoed at 8:03 p.m., Bohemian Rhapsody at 8:17 p.m., and the show concluded with the national anthem God Save the Queen at 8:59 p.m. His final farewell, like a whisper from the depths of his heart, full of affection and lingering emotion, was, "Thank you, lovely people, good night and sweet dreams" at 9:02 p.m. This was a final goodbye, a moment etched into history. But what was the most regrettable and also the most terrifying mystery of this historic performance? It was the fact that no one in the production team remembered to film this historic concert. Unbelievable, isn't it? An iconic performance marking the end of a glorious era, yet there is no official footage recorded. Therefore, only audience recordings and Freddie's vocal recordings remain. This is an irreparable loss, a permanent void in the archives of music history, and also a detail that adds to the peculiar, regrettable nature of this final performance. The last image of a legend on stage, forever only in the memories of those who were fortunate enough to be there that night, like a forgotten dream. The Knebworth night also witnessed another heartbreaking tragedy. A 23-year-old fan named Michael Jennings collapsed in the crowd as Who Wants to Live Forever played, an unsettling and prophetic song, and passed away at 9:43 p.m. Mr. Jennings had an undiagnosed heart condition. The intense excitement of the concert, coupled with the pressure from the massive crowd, tragically exacerbated his condition. His tragic death became a wake-up call, leading to stricter safety regulations for large concerts thereafter, a sad but necessary legacy to protect fan lives. And after that emotional and exhausting performance, what happened backstage further heightened Freddie's mystery and silent decline. He left the stage abruptly, unlike his usual unhurried and composed demeanor as a victor. He even forgot the silver bracelet he had worn at every concert since 1977. This small detail, a familiar item left behind, was a clear sign of unusual haste, a heavy and unstable state of mind. On the way back to London, he sat quietly in the car, seemingly lost in thought, his eyes distant, and he had a moment of vulnerability, a fragile confession, as he whispered to his close assistant, Peter Freestone, "I don't know if I can do this." Roger Taylor, his longtime friend and bandmate, also recalled Freddie telling him, "I think I've given my all." These words, spoken by a man who was always strong, proud, and indomitable on stage, showed that his physical and mental exhaustion had reached its limit. Even more strange and thought-provoking was John Deacon's behavior before the show. John, who was known for his calmness and rarely showed emotion, had a sudden, intense outburst that no one expected. He threw his bass guitar to the ground and said he couldn't go on, an action completely unlike Deacon. Perhaps, deep down, Deacon had a premonition that this might be the last time they would perform with Freddie. Years later, Deacon admitted that he cried while performing These Are the Days of Our Lives because he had a feeling it might be the last time they would play together. It was a rare emotional display from the reserved musician. That night, for all band members, marked the end of a glorious era, a sense of unease, a vague premonition of the end, foreshadowing what would happen in the near future, harsh truths that no one wanted to face. Complex and deep relationships. Freddie Mercury's life was not only about music and dazzling stage lights, but also full of deep, complex, and mysterious personal relationships. The most important woman in his life, the one he always trusted and loved deeply, was none other than Mary Austin. Although their romantic relationship ended in 1976 after Freddie publicly came out, he always considered Mary his common-law wife and his closest, most trusted confidant. Their affection transcended all conventional definitions of love. He even bought her a house near his Garden Lodge mansion and left her the entire magnificent estate in his will. Freddie told her, "You have been my wife and everything would be yours anyway." This shows a profound affection, absolute trust, an unbreakable bond, a love in another dimension, eternal and strong. Alongside Mary, Freddie also had other profound loves that deeply marked his life, reflecting his complex and multifaceted nature. In Munich, the city where he spent much time, he met and fell in love with Winfried Winnie Kirchberger, a German restaurant owner. This relationship was described as a great love in Germany, a passionate and intense affection, and Freddie wore the silver wedding ring Kirchberger gave him as a silent commitment. Later, Jim Hutton, an Irish hairdresser, stayed with Freddie until the end of his life, becoming his partner, soulmate, and solid support during his most difficult years. Freddie called Hutton his husband, and Jim gave him a gold wedding ring in 1986, which Freddie wore on his hand until his death as an eternal vow. He also maintained a close relationship with Austrian actress Barbara Valentin, and his relationships often overlapped, reflecting the complex, multidimensional personal life of a genius, a person unconstrained by any stereotype. Beyond love, Freddie also had special friendships that transcended time and hardship. He had a close relationship with radio DJ Kenny Everett, who played a crucial role in making Bohemian Rhapsody a global hit, helping the song overcome all barriers and prejudices to reach the public. Although their friendship had its ups and downs, inevitable misunderstandings, they eventually reconciled, proving the strength of true friendship. His friendship with Elton John was also a highlight, a special bond between two musical legends. Even after Freddie's death, he arranged for a meaningful gift to be sent to Elton on Christmas Day, a watercolor painting by 19th century artist Henry Scott Tuke. This demonstrated his deep care, his wonderful thoughtfulness for his friends, even after he was no longer in this world, a concern that transcended death. And another interesting thing is that although Freddie never hid his sexuality, he always refused to be defined by it. He didn't care about labels or explanations. He lived a free, unrestrained life, true to himself, transcending all societal prejudices and scrutiny. These relationships shaped Freddie Mercury, bringing him love and support, but also not a few storms, transforming his life into a colorful and emotional epic. Do you believe Freddie Mercury was the greatest frontman in rock history, yes or no? Let your answer be heard below. The silent battle and eternal legacy. This is perhaps the most heartbreaking, yet also the most resilient, part of Freddie Mercury's life story, his silent battle with AIDS. He kept his health condition a secret for many years, bearing the pain alone, not allowing worries to spread to his loved ones and the public. Although symptoms appeared as early as 1982, it wasn't until April 1987 that he was officially diagnosed with HIV. Throughout that time, he continuously denied all health rumors. Even when British tabloids began reporting from 1986, he steadfastly kept this secret. He endured the pain alone, absolutely protecting the privacy of those around him. Despite his severe illness and deteriorating health, Mercury never gave up his burning passion for music. His spirit of dedication was astonishing, a testament to his own motto, "The show must go on." He persistently recorded the album Innuendo and the iconic song The Show Must Go On in 1990, despite his incredibly frail physical condition. He struggled with every note, every line, but never backed down. He even told Brian May, "Write me more, write things I want to sing, and when I'm gone, you can finish them." These words, spoken by a man facing death, show how profound his love for music was, a love that transcended all limits of life. His last recording session took place on May 22, 1991, just months before his passing. Freddie's last public appearance was at the Brit Awards on February 18, 1990. There he looked thin and tired. Signs of the illness had become clearer, but he bravely stepped onto the stage and gave a short, emotional thank you without a hint of complaint. It was a moment when the world witnessed his resilience, courage, and indomitable spirit, a symbol of overcoming pain. And then, on November 23, 1991, just one day before his last breath, Freddie Mercury made a brave and responsible decision, an act that shook the world. He publicly announced that he had AIDS. His statement was sincere, deeply personal, and responsible. I wish to confirm that I have been tested HIV positive and have AIDS. I felt it correct to keep this information private to protect the privacy of those around me. However, the time has come for my friends and fans around the world to know the truth. That was the moment Freddie was not just a star, but also a great human being, facing the truth with resilience and dignity, an example of courage. On the night of November 24th, 1991, just one day after that courageous announcement, Freddie Mercury took his last breath at his home in Kensington, aged 45, far too young for such a great talent. The cause of death was determined to be bronchial pneumonia due to AIDS. In his final moments, only a few close individuals were by his side, including Dave Clark of the Dave Clark Five, a close friend who stayed with him until the very end. His funeral was also held very privately, with only about 35 closest relatives and friends attending, reflecting his desire for peace and privacy. After his death, a great mystery remains and perhaps will never be solved, leaving millions of fans worldwide endlessly curious: the whereabouts of his ashes. According to many sources from British newspapers and rare interviews, Mary Austin, the woman closest to and most trusted by Freddie Mercury more than anyone else, is the only one who knows Freddie's true resting place. Before his death, Freddie instructed Mary to perform the private ritual, far from all media spotlights and public scrutiny, with the aim of protecting his final peace from all noise and curiosity. Mary vaguely shared that she had carried out Freddie's wishes exactly, but absolutely kept the location secret, even when pressed by the press, fans, and close friends for years afterward. Theories once circulated that Freddie's ashes were scattered in his home garden, Kensal Green Cemetery, or even sent back to his homeland Zanzibar or India. However, no source has fully confirmed this. What is special is that Mary Austin herself swore never to reveal this secret to anyone. And to this day, that secret remains deeply in the shadows. The mystery surrounding Freddie Mercury's final resting place not only made him a greater icon in the minds of fans, but also contributed to the legend of an artist who always lived life to the fullest, but chose to depart in a private, mysterious way. The media has repeatedly emphasized that this very mystery makes Freddie's image not only confined to bright stages, but also etched in history as an elusive artistic icon, always leaving unanswered questions behind. Although no one knows exactly where his ashes rest, the most important thing, Freddie Mercury's musical legacy lives on, echoing through generations. His timeless songs, relentless creative spirit, and the message "the show must go on" continue to inspire. As a way for Freddie to remain present and guide millions of music-loving hearts, transcending all boundaries of time and space. And perhaps this very unsolved mystery is the final gift Mercury left to the world, a haunting quiet note amidst the endless symphony called Queen. Audie Murphy, a name that resonates across America, not only as the greatest soldier of World War II, but also as a Hollywood star who captivated the nation. His life was a shining epic, a symbol of courage and indomitable will. But behind the halo, there was a dark secret that had been buried for more than half a century. The world believed that Murphy died in a plane crash in 1971, a regrettable end to a great life. But what if I told you that the mystery of his death had finally been revealed and the truth was more horrifying than anything you've ever heard? Get ready for a truth that would shatter any belief in America's hero. Audie Murphy, The Orphan's Tale. Audie Leon Murphy's life began with incredible hardship. He grew up in a family that few could imagine. He was born on June 20th. However, his birth year is still a point of debate. Some say it was 1925, others claim it was 1924. Even his tombstone at Arlington National Cemetery says 1924. Many say it was a fake birth year. This was used so that he could enlist in the army earlier than he actually was. Audie was the seventh of 12 children born to Emmett and Josie Bell Murphy, a poor sharecropper family struggling to survive in Kingston, Texas, during the Great Depression. One would imagine a small, cramped home where the cries of hungry children were a common sound. Meal plans were a luxury. The future seemed like a long string of deprivation and uncertainty. Murphy's childhood was steeped in poverty, a poverty that was persistent, haunting, and gnawed at the last shreds of hope. The already dire circumstances were made even more dire when his father abandoned the family, when Audie was still very young. The burden of survival fell on his mother's young shoulders. Tragedy continued to strike the Murphy family. His beloved mother died in 1941, when Audie was only 16. Having lost both parents and become an orphan before he was even an adult, Audie Murphy faced a cruel reality. No one to rely on, no one to care for his young siblings. He had only a 5th grade education. Some say he dropped out of school earlier to help his family plough and pick cotton. It was hard work, but not enough to keep hunger at bay. At that point, he was forced to drop out of school altogether. He did all sorts of hard work, from farming to manual labor, just to be able to feed his younger siblings. The pain was compounded when he saw his younger siblings later being sent to orphanages or sent to live with relatives. It was a heartbreaking separation that Audie could do nothing about. But it was these years of extreme hardship that forged Audie Murphy's character in an extraordinary way. The pain of loss, the burden of responsibility, and the struggle with poverty forged in him a strong sense of duty, a tenacious perseverance, and an unyielding will. From an orphan boy who had to support his family, Audie became a man who matured early. He possessed a hidden strength, ready to face any challenge that life threw at him. This was not just survival, but rising from the depths of suffering. It was an incredible spirit, a testament to the indomitable will of man. Audie Murphy nearly got rejected from the military, and the reason why will leave you speechless. Drop a 0 in the comments if you're ready to uncover the shocking truth. His death, the truth is much darker. The extraordinary life of Audie Murphy came to a tragic end. It was an ending that remains controversial and haunting to this day. Audie Murphy died on May 28, 1971. He was either 45 or 46. His death was officially attributed to a private plane crash. The small twin-engine Aero Commander plane carrying him and other investors from Atlanta, Georgia to Martinsville, Virginia, crashed into Brush Mountain near Catawba, Virginia. The official report on the accident blamed pilot error and poor visibility due to bad weather conditions. All that was left was an unfortunate accident, a tragic end to a heroic life. It was all just a tragic end with no further explanation, no detail that went beyond accepting it as an accident. Everyone believed that it was just fate, a cruel accident that took the life of a legend at a young age, when he was at the peak of his life. People mourned, but then accepted the obvious truth. It was the natural course of creation. But was that the whole story? Could a hero who had faced death hundreds of times on the battlefield, a man who had survived countless bombs, have passed away in such a simple way, just because of a pilot error or bad weather? Or was there an invisible hand that intervened in his fate? The mystery of Audie Murphy's death has finally been solved. It was not an accident, as many believed. It was betrayal. It was a terrible conspiracy, coldly and ruthlessly orchestrated. Recent investigations have uncovered clear evidence of sabotage to the plane's controls. More specifically, experts have reportedly found cut or rerouted wires in the controls. This is an unmistakable sign of intentionality, of a dark hand involved. Who could do this to a hero, an American icon, a man who sacrificed his youth for his country? This could not have been a mere mechanical failure. It was a deliberate act of disaster, a meticulously planned assassination. Furthermore, witnesses and even retired officials have bravely revealed another shocking piece of information. It was said that Audie Murphy had been secretly followed before his death. The shocking reason was that he had accidentally discovered sensitive information related to secret government activities. It was a secret that those in power wanted to bury forever. Was his reputation a burden when he touched on secrets that should not be known, secrets that could shake the entire system? This information turned him into a threat, someone who needed to be silenced forever, not given the opportunity to reveal the truth. To further bolster this chilling conspiracy theory, a courageous whistleblower has revealed a chilling picture of a meticulously engineered cover-up to make Audie Murphy's death look like an accident, when in fact it was a deliberate plan to silence him forever. As the whistleblower put it, this was no coincidence, this was a carefully planned murder, covered up by silence and lies. These revelations completely changed the dynamic of the story. We are no longer dealing with a tragic accident. We are dealing with a heinous crime. This dark truth shows that Audie Murphy's death was a conspiracy, an act of ultimate betrayal and calculated violence, not a mere accident. The shocking truth about Audie Murphy's death has not only shocked the public, but also had a profound, painful impact on his family. The pain of losing a loved one, which has not subsided for decades, is now even more wrenching as they realize that the death was not fate. It was not a tragic accident, but a cruel, deliberate act, a cold conspiracy that was covered up. Imagine the pain of believing that your loved one died tragically only to discover that it was a carefully calculated murder. It was a conspiracy that was covered up by powerful forces. And now, more than 50 years after that fateful day, with new evidence emerging and shocking testimony, Audie Murphy's family is standing up once again. They do not want this mystery to continue to haunt his brilliant legacy. They are publicly calling for a full, transparent public investigation and demanding justice for Audie Murphy. After more than 50 years, will America's greatest hero get the justice he deserves? The question resonates. It is a powerful call, not just for Audie Murphy, but for truth and justice for all. It is a voice demanding transparency for history. Audie Murphy was buried with full military honors at Arlington National Cemetery, a sacred and solemn place where heroes rest. He requested a simple, humble headstone, rather than the more elaborate ones reserved for Medal of Honor recipients. This once again demonstrates his humility even after his death, not caring about fame and fortune. Audie Murphy's resting place is the second most visited site at Arlington Cemetery after that of President John F. Kennedy. This is a testament to the deep love and respect that the American people have for him. Audie Murphy's life is an enduring epic of courage, resilience against all odds, and ultimate sacrifice for his country. His rise from a poor farm boy to a legendary war hero and beloved Hollywood star is a testament to the power of the human spirit. But his death, now known to have been a dark conspiracy, remains a complex and painful part of his legacy. Can we let a legend die forever with the truth distorted, or will we come together to demand the transparency and justice he deserves? What do you think of this new evidence? Do you believe in the horrifying conspiracy theory behind Audie Murphy's death? Share your thoughts, feelings, soldier. From a young age, Audie Murphy had a burning dream: to join the army. For a young man growing up in abject poverty, the army was more than just a way out of a life of drudgery. It was a symbol of honor, discipline, and a chance to truly do something meaningful for his country. It was a glimmer of hope to escape the grim fate that surrounded him. When the attack on Pearl Harbor shocked the United States in December 1941, Murphy's desire burned stronger than ever. Although he was only 16, he tried to enlist immediately. However, he was harshly rejected. He was asked to wait until he turned 18. The rejection did not discourage him. On the contrary, it only fueled his determination. In June 1942, just days before his 17th birthday, Audie made a bold and determined move. He submitted a forged birth certificate. His sister skillfully altered the document to show that Audie was 18 years old, legally eligible for military service. It was a risk that risked his future, for a burning dream. However, Audie's path to military service was not as easy as he had hoped. Despite being older on paper, he was still rejected outright by the Navy and Marine Corps without any mercy. The reason was ironic and cruel. He was too small and underweight. He was only 5 5 inches, or 5 feet 5 inches, tall, and weighed just over 110 pounds. It's hard to believe that one of the greatest soldiers in history would be rejected because of his small stature. Finally, Audie Murphy was accepted into the United States Army in 1942. But the challenges didn't stop there. During the grueling basic training, his small stature once again became an obstacle. He faced the risk of being removed from the combat ranks. He once fainted during a drill. His company commander, perhaps concerned about his fragile condition, tried to transfer him to chef and baker school. It might have been a safer, less dangerous path, a chance to escape the bullets. But Audie Murphy wouldn't have it. He refused. His will to become a fighting man was strong, more than ever, like a fire that never goes out. He wants to go to war, wants to face the enemy, not stay behind with pots and pans. It is that determination, that iron will that has shaped the hero we will see later, a true warrior who does not retreat before any hardship. After completing his rigorous training, Audie Murphy was sent overseas. That was when his legendary combat journey began. His first destination was Casablanca, Morocco, a foreign land. Then he went to Sicily, where fierce fighting was taking place non-stop. From there, Murphy served with distinction, making an indelible mark in important campaigns in North Africa, Italy, France, and Germany. Every step he took on the battlefield was a testament to his extraordinary courage and innate military talent that few could match. On the Italian front, Audie Murphy quickly proved his superior ability. This amazed both his comrades and superiors. His excellent shooting skills and incredible fighting ability helped him to be quickly promoted to corporal. But it was here that he contracted the terrible disease of malaria, which he struggled with for most of the war. Although his body was weakened by illness and it seemed that he could collapse at any moment, Audie's fighting spirit did not weaken. He continued to fight like a tireless machine. He was a warrior who never surrendered. Murphy quickly became famous in his unit for his extraordinary courage, excellent tactical talent, and unyielding dedication. He risked everything to protect his comrades. He was not only a good soldier, but also a natural leader. He always put the safety of his soldiers first. He was willing to sacrifice himself for them. One of Audie Murphy's most notable acts of bravery took place on August 15, 1944, in southern France. It was a moment that shaped his legend, a moment that history will remember forever. That day, he and his unit encountered a German machine gun crew. The enemy had pretended to surrender, showing their hands to fool the Americans. It was a dirty trick that they did not expect would cost them dearly. But just as Audie's best friend stepped forward to accept the surrender, the German soldiers turned on him and shot him dead right before his eyes. The heartbreaking scene, the cruel betrayal, drove Audie Murphy mad. An uncontrollable rage erupted, a flame of hatred burned in his heart. Without a moment's hesitation, he charged forward alone. He destroyed the entire machine gun crew like a fierce storm, sweeping everything away. He did not stop there. He turned the enemy's weapon into his own. He used a German machine gun to kill every German soldier within a 100-yard radius. That incredible act included wiping out 2 other machine gun nests and countless hidden snipers, turning anger into destructive force. He went berserk and single-handedly cleared an entire area full of enemy soldiers, fighting an entire army by himself. This heroic act not only saved the lives of many of his comrades, but also earned him the Distinguished Service Cross, second only to the Medal of Honor, and was immediately promoted to platoon commander. Who could have imagined how much strength and courage such a small man could possess? On January 26, 1945, near Holtzweiler, France, in a moment that will forever be remembered as a legend in military history, Murphy fought alone against an entire company of German soldiers for more than an hour. The situation was extremely unfavorable. He was wounded and completely outgunned by the overwhelming enemy force, and there seemed to be no way out. In this desperate situation, when an American tank was shot and abandoned, Audie Murphy made a crazy move. It was a daring decision that no normal person would dare to think of. Only he would dare to do it. He bravely climbed onto that burning tank, whose fuel tank was still full and could explode at any moment, taking his life in an instant. From that extremely dangerous position, he seized the tank's .50 caliber machine gun and single-handedly unleashed a storm of fire on the enemy forces. He killed each advancing German soldier like a moth to a flame. At the same time, he kept in touch with the operator to call for artillery support. He directed precise artillery strikes on the enemy positions, turning himself into a soldier and gunner. Bullets were whistling, flames were blazing, and the young soldier stood alone in the midst of the bullets. He became a solid wall of steel, blocking the German advance. Could an ordinary man do such an extraordinary thing? This extraordinary act of bravery, single-handedly fighting an entire enemy company in near-death conditions, earned Audie Murphy the Medal of Honor, the United States' highest military award. What is amazing is that he received this honor at the age of 19, far too young to shoulder such a great title. By the end of the war, when the Americans won and Audie Murphy returned home, he had gone down in history as a living legend, a symbol of courage. He had received every combat award for valor in the United States at the time, an unprecedented record for any soldier in military history. The list of medals he had was truly astonishing. The Distinguished Service Cross, 2 Silver Stars, a Bronze Star, and 3 Purple Hearts for wounds he suffered on the battlefield, each a testament to his sacrifice. In all, Audie Murphy was awarded 33 awards and medals from the United States and Allied nations, making him the most decorated American soldier of all of World War II. Even the French government awarded him the Croix de Guerre with Palm and Silver Star for his service on French soil. It was an international recognition of bravery that knew no borders. Audie Murphy was more than a soldier. He was the embodiment of courage, sacrifice, and an unyielding will. It was a life lesson in rising above adversity. Because YouTube will prioritize interactive videos, please comment OK if you find this video interesting. Thank you. War aftermath and the unseen collapse. Despite his acting career, Audie Murphy squandered much of his fortune on horse gambling and bad investments. It was another personal tragedy for the hero, a downward spiral that could not be reversed. This led to his bankruptcy declaration in 1968. It was a sad end to a life that had been filled with glory. From the heights of fame to the depths of bankruptcy, is Hollywood sometimes so cruel? That is the big question that remains unanswered. During that time, he continued his work as an advocate for veterans. He still advocated for treatment for those with PTSD. It was a testament to his never-ending compassion and social responsibility, even when he was struggling personally. Do you believe a national hero like Audie Murphy could really lose it all to gambling and bad investments? Comment yes if you think it's possible, or no if you can't believe it. Audie Murphy's personal life was full of ups and downs, joys and storms. This was no less than his brilliant but also thorny career. In 1949, he married actress Wanda Hendricks, a bright star of Hollywood. However, this marriage was short-lived. The reason was said to be due to Murphy's erratic and sometimes violent behavior. Hendricks later blamed it on PTSD. It was the pain of the war that deeply affected his personal life, turning him from a hero to a man struggling with himself. Just 4 days, or even just 2 days after divorcing Wanda Hendricks, Audie Murphy remarried Pamela Opal Lee Archer, a former flight attendant. This second marriage brought the stability and support that Audie Murphy had been looking for in his tumultuous life. Pamela brought the peace our hero craved. It was a safe haven from the storms of life. They had 2 sons together, Terence Michael, born in 1952, and James Shannon. Both grew up with the great and proud legacy of their father, a living legend. This second marriage was much more stable than the first. It brought Audie Murphy not only personal happiness, but also a solid family foundation. This was what he deserved after all the sacrifices and sufferings. It was a rare bit of peace in a life full of events. Mysterious Hollywood career. Returning home as a national hero, a living legend revered by the nation, Audie Murphy faced new challenges. These were scars that were invisible to the naked eye, mental wounds that were even deeper than bullet wounds. He struggled deeply with the psychological scars left by the war. It was a legacy more severe than any physical wound. He suffered from combat fatigue, a term used at the time, which we now recognize and call post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, an invisible but devastating disease. The war in Audie Murphy's mind was perhaps more fierce than any battle he had ever experienced on the battlefield. The horrifying images of bombs, the deafening explosions that tore through the air, and the sight of bloodshed haunted him day and night, relentlessly. But despite fighting these painful internal battles, Audie Murphy did not stay silent. He refused to back down from his illness. He used his immense fame to raise awareness of veterans' issues and the importance of mental health support. He became one of the first public figures to courageously speak out about the mental toll of combat. He broke the wall of silence surrounding a topic that was taboo at the time. It was an act that required as much courage as facing the enemy. A hero who had bravely faced the enemy now had to fight his own demons, and more than that, he had the courage to stand up for other comrades who were suffering the same pain. This was not only bravery on the battlefield, but also bravery facing oneself and others. After his masculine and heroic image appeared on the cover of the magazine Life Famous, the powerful actor and producer James Cagney took notice of him. Cagney, with the keen eye of a veteran in the film industry, saw some potential in this young man. Not only a military hero, but also a promising film face. He did not hesitate to invite Audie Murphy to Hollywood to try his hand at acting. Although Audie's early career with James Cagney did not last as long as expected, Murphy decided to stay in Los Angeles. This was a city completely different from the poor countryside where he grew up, where the spotlight was bright and dreams were woven. He began to receive film roles, gradually entering the glamorous world of Hollywood. Some say that his real breakthrough film was Bad Boy, 1949, where he first demonstrated his acting ability in a genuine and emotional way. However, many others considered To Hell and Back, 1955, is Audie Murphy's most notable film. Not only is it a dramatic war film, but also because he played himself, telling the story of his life and glorious achievements. An unprecedented act, To Hell and Back, based on his memoir of the same name, was a huge box office success, attracting millions of viewers and firmly cementing Audie Murphy's status as a war hero and a true movie star. For 20 years, it was Universal Studios' highest-grossing film, a feat few actors could achieve. This proves his irresistible appeal. What's special is that during the making of the film, Audie omitted some parts of his true story. Not because he wanted to hide or distort, but so that the audience wouldn't think he was exaggerating the events. It was an amazing humility from a hero who had experienced the unthinkable. Although he was often cast in westerns and war films genres that perfectly suited his brave and strong image, Audie Murphy never considered himself a great actor. He approached acting with the same humility as he had throughout his life. He had no illusions about his artistic talents. In addition to acting, he also tried his hand at composing country music. This was a little-known talent of this hero, an artistic side hidden behind the soldier's appearance. He wrote a number of songs that were recorded by leading artists, including famous names such as Dean Martin and Charlie Pride, music legends. In his short acting career, Audie Murphy starred in between 40 and 44 films. That's an impressive number for someone who didn't consider himself a real actor. In 1951, he was cast in the classic film The Red Badge of Courage. Unfortunately, the film was a box office failure, a small blip in a brilliant career. In 1957, Murphy had a memorable role in the classic Western Night Passage, another highlight of his career, demonstrating his versatility in acting. 1959 was a particularly prolific period for Murphy. He appeared in 3 different westerns, The Wild and the Innocent, cast a long shadow as an uncredited co-producer, and No Name on the Bullet. Special No Name on the Bullet was a critically acclaimed film. This film helped to raise his profile in the film industry and brought him to new heights. In addition to the big screen, Murphy also appeared on television in 1960 in an episode of the show Star Time. He enthusiastically supported the TV series The Big Picture of the United States Army, even receiving the Distinguished Civilian Service Medal in 1960. This shows his tireless dedication. He collaborated with writer Claire Huffaker on 2 1961 films, 7 Ways from Sundown and Posse from Hell, creating classics. He also had an important collaboration with Willard W. Willingham and his wife Mary Willingham, who produced the television series Whispering Smith, 1961, and co-wrote the screenplays for many of Murphy's other films, such as Battle at Bloody Beach, 1961, Bullet for a Bad Man, 1964, Arizona Raiders, 1965, Gunpoint and 40 Guns to Apache Pass, 1967, the last Western of his career, a farewell to the genre that made him famous. Murphy also expanded his international horizons when he made the film trunk to Cairo in Israel in 1966. This demonstrated his versatility and ability to reach out to the world. Another important relationship was with director Bud Boeticher. He directed Murphy's first Western, The Cimarron Kid, 1951, and wrote the screenplay for his final film, A Time for Dying, 1969. This was a meaningful end to a long journey of cooperation. What do you think about the secrets and strange details surrounding Freddie Mercury that we've just explored? What in his life impressed you the most, touched your heart most deeply? And do you believe that the location of his ashes will forever remain a mystery, or will the truth one day be revealed? Please share your opinions, feelings and thoughts in the comments section. I'd love to hear diverse perspectives from you all. And if this video touched your emotions, providing you with interesting information and deeper insights into this legend, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the iconic Inside channel so you don't miss out on exciting and inspiring stories about legendary stars and unsolved mysteries. Thank you very much for joining me on today's journey of discovery. See you in upcoming videos.